Hey guys, so I want to update on my pool plan. The last I did it was back in event 1.4, and in that pool plan video I mentioned that I will get 6 Spadolia, Jiunyangzi, Iso and Marcus. So obviously you can see that I have all 4 of them except for Marcus. That's because when I was pulling for Jiunyangzi I lost 50-50 to Jessica and Anneli, which I'm not angry or sad at all. I'm actually pretty happy because I do not have plan 6 star and now I have 2, so I decided that I'm sorry Marcus, I will not be pulling for her. But don't get me wrong, Marcus is still a solid unit. Her damage is really high, and if you play her with the mindset to get through her ultimate quickly by using her 2 star and 3 star, she actually dish out a lot of damage. Some of you might ask, is she similar to other plant DPS, and is it like she is dealing so much more damage? So what is the drawback, what is the benefits, all that things. Actually, I want to talk a little bit. I do think that this is Bluepock's direction, but obviously I do not know exactly because the developers never actually mentioned it before. But you can see characters like Lilia, the DPS for each afflictors like Eternity, Regulus, and who do we have? Like Centurion, A Knight. They kind of fit in quite a lot of team, right? Like you don't have to have a specific team for them to work, which this actually now changes as we move on, especially like here, Jiunyangzi, we will have the follow-up team. Then like Spadolia, we have the burn team. And with Marcus, we have the plant, spirit, intellect team. And usually this team specific, like you only can use them in a certain team composition. Like you only can party them with a certain characters. They are often way stronger than the usual characters, right? So to me, if you get Marcus, you have like 6 Isolt, and maybe later next banner Vila. Marcus should be able to clear a lot of content regardless of afflictors. Like, yeah, okay. So I think if you have her, it's still good, but because I already have my plan, yeah, so I decided that I will skip her. So anyway, after Marcus, we will be getting Vila, and Vila to me is insane. She is one of the top tier healer sustain unit, and I recommend that everyone should get her. I will definitely pull for her, right? One thing a lot of people mention that she is a mental oriented buffer. I do not quite agree. Yes, she has additional buff for mental, but it's just additional 10% crit and 10% crit damage, while for every other unit is 20%, and that is already pretty high. Okay, so you can use her with reality unit, no problem at all. Even with different afflictors of all the afflictors, you probably can slot in Vila. She is kind of like Tooth Fairy, right? You can just slot her in and she can fulfill most of the role as a sustain. After Vila is Windsong. So Windsong is pretty crazy, but that's because of rate. If we do not talk about her in rate, I wouldn't say she is so much more stronger than a lot of units. I think she is still good, but not to say like she's way stronger than all the other units that we have. So the advantage here is that I'm not sure what's going on with Bluepock. To me, up until even version 2.0 in China, she is like the most broken character for rate. So what happened is that in rate, as we know, if we kill the enemy, they will become stronger and stronger as the phase goes on. And if you are able to dish like a lot of damage on the enemy, in one turn, they can keep switching phase, but they do not get stronger because they do not receive that buff to increase their defense and increase their damage reduction. Right? So Windsong, her ulti uses all the incantation that is currently in our list. So which means you can stack it up, you can stack until there's like 10, 20 of her incantation, because she keep getting precast and you can keep retaining the precast if you combine them to a higher level. So once she got a lot of incantation, you use the ulti one time and she will blast the enemy like from 200 score, 200,000 score, all the way to 850 and even millions of scores. So she basically cheeses rate. But if we are talking about other fights, Limbo, all those things, she probably is not bad. She's probably, you know, in terms of damage output, is similar to other characters that we already have. So yeah. But then again, Blue Proc then add in a tuning specific to her, right? Like when you use the tuning, you get 2 precasts, which is why she can easily get precast in rate. So now with this, she can easily get more precast, so when she uses the ulti, she deals even more damage. It's as if like they purposely want to make her broken. I do not know why, but yeah. So currently in this tier list, which is, I'm not sure from who exactly, yeah, they currently put her in 10, right? But for me personally, she just cheeses rate. I do not need to cheese rate. I think I have enough units to clear any other rates that's coming, so I will be skipping Windsong. Alright, probably it's a, everyone will say that I'm pretty crazy to do that, but yeah, I don't think I need her. Alright, I might try 10 to 20 pulls. If I get lucky, I will get her. If not, then I will just keep the, yeah, like build up the PD for the next unit, right? Maybe 30. So I will just set 30 pools for Windsong. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, then I will skip her. Okay, so moving on to the next, I believe it's Lucy. So right after Windsong is Lucy, and the reason why I'm saving up because I really want Lucy. Yeah, so what Lucy does is that here, right, her ultimate will grant her a Afflatus advantage against all Afflatus. So means regardless of Afflatus, regardless of fights, you can easily just slot her in, making her a very versatile unit, and her damage is also pretty insane. When she kills an enemy, she does follow up. When the follow up kills the enemy, she does even more follow up. So yeah, so to say the least, she's crazy. And like Jiunyangzi, she's also a limited unit, and if you throw 200 pools at her, you can actually get a copy of her for free. So I'm still on the bench if I want to do that, because there are so many characters that I want after her, and I'm not sure how is my clear drop stash will be at that point. But anyway, I have decided that I will definitely prefer her. Right, so moving on is Kakia. So I want to go for Kakia as well, because in my roster right now, if I to slot them out, not in terms of Afflatus, but in terms of roles, I lack tanks. I do not have a tank unit. I do not have a unit that shield. So Kakia actually does help out because she tanks off 50%. She tanks 50% of damage dealt to allies, and then she heals back, right? And her ulti, if you do it right, also deals very high damage, especially if you have Windsong. They go very well together. But even if I'm not pulling for Windsong, I will still get Kakia. And moving on, after Kakia, we have Joe. Sadly, Joe is really down in the bottom of this list, like 7.7. I totally do not agree with him being here. He is crazy strong, but maybe, I think maybe why he's here, because the person who does this tier list probably think that, hey, he's supposed to be a sustain because of his shielding, like you see here, shielding, counter, AoE, DPT, HP burn. They did not list him as, okay, AoE, DPT, alright. So to me, he is more of a damage DPS. He is not really a sustain. He can sustain the entire party very well except himself. So you still need some kind of constant healing, which is why I need Kakia. So Kakia and Joe will ensure that Joe will be even more tanky. And the thing about Joe is that every time the enemy attacks the party, he does a counter. Where the hell is Joe? Wait. So every time the enemy attacks the party, he does a counter. If the enemy does AoE and hit 2 of our unit, he does 2 counters. If the enemy uses an ulti and all 4 is hit, he does 4 counter. And that counter is, the damage is not low at all, it's actually pretty high. Yeah, so I have used him in China, the China version for quite a while. He clears Utu easily. He clears Limbo. I can't really try Rate because I was a new player there, so I did not have the resources to actually try out Rate. Roguelite, I did. He has no problem clearing any of that. Okay, so I will definitely pull for Joe. And now, next is Mercuria. Yeah, the character that created a lot of controversy and discussion in the China side, that she is like a bait because her base kit is probably not that strong, but if you get her P5, she is insane, right? All the way up to 50-60% damage dealt to the entire party. But what I would say is that even at P0, the advantage is she gives additional damage up, which is not a buff. So it's more like an aura, so it stacks with the buff. So even if the value that she can actually consistently give is just about 15-20%, to me it's actually pretty good already. But yet, I will not be pulling for her. I do not need her. Definitely if you have markers, you should go for Mercuria, because she does need the unit to be using high level incantation. But looking into this, that probably in the future there should be more unit that functions similar to Marcus. So if you want to have an early investment, so you can actually get her right when she debuted, even if you don't have Marcus, if you want to prepare for the future. But personally, I'm more interested in the burn team, which is why I'm going for Joe. We have the follow-up team, and then after Mercuria will be Tuesday. We already know what Tuesday kit is like, which is poison, and that should work very well with Jessica and Sotheby. So I'm gonna stick with burn, poison, and follow up for now, right? So in that case, I will be skipping Mercuria. All right. So in conclusion, so basically, Vila, Lucy, Kakia, Joe. So I will be getting this 4 character, and of course in the next version when Tuesday is out, I will be getting Tuesday. Right, so that's all for the pool plan. I hope it gives some insight in terms of what the character does and how I'm building my roster if you ever want to use that as a reference. Yeah, so anyway, have a good day and thank you for watching.